What's going on, gang? Time for another movie review. Today we're going with one of my favourite movies. You know, every once in a while it's nice to throw in one of your favourites amongst all the shit that I normally review. So today I'm talking about Dawn of the Dead. Of course, written and directed by George A. Romero. It stars David Engie, Galen Ross, Scott Reiniger and Ken Foray. Essentially, Dawn of the Dead takes place in the context of a zombie apocalypse which has been ongoing for some time. The film kicks off in a TV station where Fran works. She's, I guess you would say, our central character here. She works in the TV station which is being descended into madness with the crisis at large. A lot of people are abandoning ship and running. Her boyfriend, a helicopter pilot for the TV news station, comes and finds her and tells her that they're getting out, they're going to escape, they're going to steal the helicopter and escape. Meanwhile, two SWAT team officers are involved in a raid at a housing project, attempting to recover a stash of corpses that are being kept from the National Guard. Amongst this SWAT team are Peter and Roger, who meet for the first time on this chaotic night and decide to run away together. Roger tells Peter about his friend Steve, who has got a helicopter, and they head towards the TV station to get out of there. They fly all night and eventually end up at a shopping mall, a shopping centre, where they decide to head in and take a look at supplies. Once they're inside, they realise that this mall provides some of the luxuries of the life that they once had before the apocalypse, and they decide to see if they can secure them all and hold up there for the foreseeable future. Now I've got to say, this review is probably going to be spoilerific because there's a lot I want to talk about in a more sort of analysis sort of way than just reviewing the movie. And also, if you're wondering, the version that I watched to do this review was actually the theatrical version. When I watched Dawn of the Dead, I usually watch the extended cut rather than the theatrical version, but on this occasion I thought, you know what, since I want to get a little bit more angle on it, I'm going to watch the theatrical cut. Getting onto the film itself, I've got to say that the first 20 minutes of Dawn of the Dead is probably my favourite opening 20 minutes of any film ever. I mean, all of the stuff in the TV studio with Fran, you know, it's frantic in there. Fran is running around trying to, you know, keep everything under control. They're running rescue stations along the bottom of the screen, and they're trying to get an updated list because they're running rescue station lists that contain inoperative stations. Fran tells the tech team to take the list down off screen when she gets in trouble with her boss, who wants the rescue stations on screen because no one will watch if they're not there. Which kind of brings up the first philosophical point about Dawn of the Dead, which is interesting, and it's one of the ones that people skip over quite a lot. They obviously go straight to the kind of consumerism thing, which is the bigger part, but there's also a media commentary in here as well, in the fact that ultimately this TV producer doesn't really care that he's running a list of rescue stations, that most of which are inoperable, and sending people out to their deaths, because it would lower the viewing figures if he didn't. Even in this chaotic world where most of us are probably going to be dead pretty soon, all this guy really cares about is whether or not people are watching the channel. In a way, you could see that as kind of the first example of a thread of dark comedy that runs through this film. People often kind of talk about, and he's definitely there. And then from there, you get the next interesting part of that first 20 minutes, which is the raid on the housing block, which is a total assault of all-out sensory overload. It's just so perfect in its staging. You know, you've got these two sides of Law and Order, the side that is dedicated to good, i.e. Roger and Peter, and then you've got Wooly, who is this kind of chaotic character who's kind of using this raid as an opportunity to take out his anger on those who he feels have wronged him in a way. So yeah, you know, with all that kind of interesting stuff in the TV studio, and then all the blood and guts of the housing block raid, that first 20 minutes, all superb. The film's sort of divided into acts, so you've got that first act that I just told you about, and then In the middle you've got the act where they're kind of trying to secure a place to stay, i.e. the shopping mall, and you know, they do that in the middle of the film. That's kind of the longest act, and then at the very end, the sort of last half an hour of the movie is them now contented living there, but you know, the threat comes in, obviously the biker gang come along, try to take over. And I mean, that structure works magnificently. The way it carries the film is just superb. There's never a dull moment in Dawn of the Dead whatsoever for me. I mean, it is a pretty long film, you know, all things considered, compared to most other kind of movies of its kind. The theatrical version is about 2 hours 10 minutes. The extended version is about 2 hours 19 minutes, I think, give or take. Either way, it's a pretty long movie for a zombie horror movie. And in spite of that, everything feels important. I don't feel like there's anything in the movie that is necessary to go, you know, to make it better. Of the two versions, I do think that the theatrical version cuts away a lot of the fat, particularly in the earlier section. For example, when they meet up at the chopper and the police are there, they're escaping on their boat, these coppers. I feel like as a whole the theatrical version does lose a lot of the stuff that is expendable. That said, there is a lot of stuff in the extended version that is really good stuff as well, but I would totally be fine with being in the theatrical version. For example, at the start of the housing block raid, when Roger is repeating the calls, the plea that is being made over the megaphone to Rodriguez, who is running the tower block, he's predicting what he's going to say. Like that, I think is perfectly well served and would have been fine in the theatrical version, but hey, you know, this is George Romero's decision, I guess. And I guess another benefit as well of the extended cut is that it's a lot more bloody later in the film. There's tons of blood in the finale, and like I say, in the theatrical version and the extended cut, but the extended cut is even more grotesque and gratuitous in that way. I might have to make my own cut of the film and kind of keep all of the bits that I think are sort of perfect, you know? You know, on the front of gore and stuff, this is a Tom Savini effects job, and it's not one of his best, I'll be honest. He went on to do much greater effects work than this, but it is all still very watertight, very sturdy, and in combination with the way that the movie is shot, it does really come off well. You know, for example, the blood is a really bright colour, but the film is very brightly lit anyway. So combine all that together, it doesn't look too out of place, the blood. The whole sort of comic book look of the colours really makes that blood sort of pop a little bit. But yeah, the effects all perfectly good. Some of them are really great, you know, shotgun blast to the head, screwdriver in the ear, all that, superb, love it. I've got to say as well, going back to the kind of, I guess, the philosophy of the movie, this movie is so interesting to watch the kind of development of these characters and how that portrays, I guess, the philosophy of the movie. You know, these guys are looking for kind of the luxuries of their old life. The fact is that it's, you know, the world outside is still a mess. You know, it doesn't mean anything. It isn't real. It's a fantasy that they're living in, that the world is perfect, when in reality the world outside is crumbling and collapsing. I guess it kind of indicates a belief that the world is more than just your perception, you know. And on top of that, obviously, the fact that it quite clearly says that, you know, materialism is a huge distraction from things that actually matter. Right, let's try and summarise it now. Dawn of the Dead, perfect. Nothing wrong with this movie at all. It is one of my favourite movies. I will defend this movie to the grave. For me, this is the Citizen Kane of horror. It is an epic movie where no shot in this movie wasn't elaborately thought out and put together perfectly in order to kind of keep everything ticking over, but then to pull you back and remind you where you are, and to kind of make a couple of really deep philosophical points at the same time as being incredibly entertaining. So whether you come to Dawn of the Dead wanting a serious critique of capitalist society, or you just want to be entertained by some gut-munching zombies getting their brains blown out, you're covered. Either way, you're covered. and that really is the beauty of the movie. So yeah, for me, Dawn of the Dead can't have anything but a 10 out of 10. This is a perfect movie. Like I say, Dawn of the Dead is just superb. I recommend it to everyone watching this if they haven't seen it already, to go and get a copy and learn to love it like I do. Thank you very much for watching this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm guessing this is probably going to be probably my longest review ever, based on how long I've seemed to have been filming. Please do like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think of Dawn of the Dead. Also go into the description, follow the link to check out my podcast. It's called Ironcast. It's all about music and it's superb. I'll be back at you next time with another horror review. Peace out.